the restless thought that you may be lagging behind hums beneath your heartbeat, and you wonder if the clock has outrun your purpose. Yet as indigo night thins, dawn's first awakening breeze brushes your face, and the sky's soft timing spreads like watercolor across the horizon, hinting that unseen growth has been taking place while you slept. The one who shelters you is never hurried. His steadfast strength folds around your worries, inviting you to step into his rhythm. Breathe deeply. This moment exists so you can lay every plan at his feet, release anxious steps, and rediscover purpose shaped by his generous blessing. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 4:16-10. This ancient call quiets the inner race, reminding you that divine presence marks each second with care. What unseen weight will you entrust to him before the sun fully climbs? Which desire will you offer for his refinement today? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the first light of trust. You stand on the threshold of morning, a place where yesterday's echoes cannot follow unless you invite them, and tomorrow's questions remain politely outside the door. In this delicate hush you feel the earth stretching, birds testing gentle throats, and leaves trembling with dew, every detail whispering that the present is a living altar. You breathe again, slower now, realizing that no missed opportunity can erase God's attentive gaze upon you. Each second arrives like a fresh cup of water set before a weary traveler, and you are free to drink. The tasks waiting on your desk or device carry importance, yet they do not define your worth. Rather, they become canvases on which mercy writes new patterns. Morning light spills across the floorboards, illuminating dust motes that swirl in quiet celebration. Such small particles were invisible moments ago, but now they dance. An ordinary miracle suggesting that what is hidden in you is coming awake. You might remember a season when progress felt invisible, when prayers seemed to linger unanswered. Yet within that apparent stillness, roots dove deeper, threading through hard soil, strengthening your stability for the day you would rise. Consider the sapling. Its growth rings form silently beneath bark long before branches widen towards sky. You, too, carry silent rings of resilience. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:7-23. These words invite you to see sunrise not as a deadline, but as a doorway into unwavering compassion that resets the tally of your life. Let today's awakening begin in your senses. Feel the steady drum of your pulse. Hear the subtle wind. Taste the crisp air. Tell your mind it no longer needs to sprint ahead or reread the past. Tell your shoulders they can lower, because being fully present is the bravest obedience. When you notice comparison creeping in, memories of others seeming farther along, return to right now. God is working exactly where your feet rest. He is crafting skills through each email, deepening patience in every traffic signal, sharpening vision through every small conversation. The schedule you hold may shift, but the maker of time remains beside you, shepherding moments like pearls on a string. So step onto this sunrise path without apology for things undone. Your calling is not a race to the next milestone. It is a pilgrimage of faithful breaths. Speak a quiet yes to the possibilities folded inside this hour. Smile at the smallness of beginnings, for heaven specializes in multiplying loaves that look insufficient. Your awakening is evidence that purpose is still unfolding, and you are not late. You are loved into perfect timing. Your seconds glide like river water, each one reflecting light that did not exist a breath ago, and you realize the stream has never once stalled. Only your anxious eyes mistake its pace for delay. The household clock may insist upon schedules, the glowing phone may tug at your vigilance. Yet heaven's quieter metronome directs you toward convergence rather than competition. You feel its pulse in the stretch of your lungs and in the measured cadence of bird calls rising beyond the window. This is not random music, but a symphony conducted by one who knows where every note must land for fullness to bloom. Remember moments when you begged for acceleration, results, recognition, resolution, only to meet gentle silence. Those pauses were not empty. They were chambers where endurance learned to breathe, where perspective crystallized like frost on winter branches, clarifying edge and contour. Your life, like a garden, follows seasons, a time for breaking hard soil, a time for concealed germination, a time for fragrant blossom. To demand petals before roots invite water would wound the flower you hope to present. So release insistence on immediate harvest. Let divine chronology steward the unfolding of today's agenda and tomorrow's reward. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. These ancient words soothe the inner rush, reminding you that each appointment in your story arrives with purpose, never early, never late. During unseen stretches, God weaves alignments on your behalf, a conversation delayed, so that the right listener becomes available. A detour revealing skills you will soon require, an unanswered email preserving you from paths that fracture peace. You may feel sidelined, yet your waiting bench is positioned beside wisdom's workshop. As minutes pass, tools are forged, companions prepared, doors oiled for effortless swing. What appears stagnant on the surface hides subterranean movement, tectonic plates adjusting, currents redirecting, future blessings gathering momentum like dawn wind before sunrise. Stop measuring your worth by milestones captured in someone else's timeline. Look instead to the steady rhythm of your pulse, proof that the Creator's clock is ticking within you. When you accept this cadence, deadlines lose their sting and comparison weakens. You can choose to regard delays as invitations to deepen trust. Like a sailor learning to read stars when the compass clouds, each waiting interval sharpens discernment, owns grace, and tempers ambition with patience, ensuring that when opportunity finally knocks, you answer seasoned, not hurried, composed, not desperate. The vision awaits its appointed time. It will surely come. It will not delay. See Habakkuk 2:3. This promise anchors expectancy, assuring you that fulfillment travels with certainty even when horizons look still. So breathe in synchrony with mercy's pulse. Whisper gratitude for the timetable you cannot see, knowing it guards you from burdens unfit for this hour. Feel the relief of relinquishing control over clocks and calendars. Feel the courage rising as you trust the tempo holy hands conduct. Today, choose to mark progress not by speed, but by faithfulness, a thoughtful reply, a patient pause, a gentle word that softens tension. In doing so, you walk in exact step with heaven, and the fear of falling behind dissolves into the joy of divine timing. You enter the still garden of your own life, noticing that most marvels rest beneath the soil where no hurried glance can celebrate them. The surface may appear plain, beds raked smooth, no spectacular blossom yet. Still, beneath that quiet loam, roots twist in patient strength. Capillaries draw water from unseen springs, and fine threads ferry nourishment between neighbors. You might overlook this orchestra if you measured only tall stems or bright petals. Yet heaven's design always begins in the dark, where possibility incubates unnoticed. Recall chapters that felt barren weeks, when ideas stalled, prayers echoed unanswered, and relationships hovered in polite distance. Even during those stretches, humble fibers of character stretched, anchoring you for winds you could not forecast. Silence tutored listening, uncertainty honed resilience, delayed outcomes rehearsed hope. Just as glaciers sculpt valleys while the world dreams, God chisels corridors of courage inside you through seasons that look immobile from the outside. You sometimes crave evidence, numbers, applause, visible promotion, yet the most vital growth rings form where eyes cannot intrude. Consider the bamboo shoot. For years it appears to do almost nothing above ground while its root system fans wide beneath. And then, in a single summer, it rockets skyward. Your life may stand on the cusp of similar acceleration. The current quiet is not punitive, but preparatory. The kingdom of God is as if someone should scatter seed on the ground. The seed sprouts and grows, though the sower does not know how. A Mark 4:26-27. This parable releases you from charting each advance. Divine chemistry thrives in secrecy until the hour of reveal. Notice subtle indicators already germinating, a calmer response where anger once flared, a spark of creativity returning to tasks that felt dull, compassion blossoming towards someone difficult to love. Celebrate these tender shoots without comparing size or speed. A cedar and a sunflower honor their maker, equally though their timelines differ. When envy tempts, remember every garden bears unique patterns of sun and shade. Your plot is calibrated to yield fruit no other soul can offer. Partner with hidden growth by choosing secrecy where applause entices whisper prayer for a stranger whose thanks you may never hear. Serve in ways only heaven records. Study a craft quietly until mastery surprises everyone. Such unseen actions become spiritual compost, enriching soil for future harvest. When doubts murmur that nothing is happening, place a hand over your chest and feel the heart's steady beat, an invisible miracle repeating 60 times a minute. Thank God for muscles repairing themselves after sleep, for synapses mapping new understanding with each lesson learned. Now envision your roots spreading deeper into God's unshakable ground, intertwining with the roots of saints who walked before you. Let that picture hush the urge to display premature fruit. In due season, branches will crack open with fragrance, and those who once dismissed the bare plot will breathe astonished praise. Until then, rest in the sacred covert of hidden growth, trusting that nothing authentic is ever lost in darkness. It is only gathering strength for radiant emergence. You rise from silent soil into motion, letting the morning breeze guide your first stride the way a gentle hand steadies a child learning balance. The trail ahead bends through soft mist, obscuring distant turns, yet you proceed because love walks beside you, matching pace. Each footfall is a small yes spoken with muscle and will, a declaration that direction does not rely on flawless maps, but on faithful companionship. You notice how dew-laden grass bows under your shoes, then springs upright, evidence that progress can press lightly, leaving room for renewal instead of scars. The world around you hums with discreet assurance. Crickets hush as sun climbs, distant roofs glow, and the pulse in your wrist keeps time with heaven's drum. There was a season when you hesitated at every choice, weighing outcomes until courage collapsed under its own analysis. Today, permission comes differently, not from perfect forecasts, but from a voice whispering, "Go, I am already at the destination." That voice turns crossroads into invitations rather than tests, urging you to exchange perfectionism for pilgrimage. Imagine a lantern casting only enough glow for the next few yards. The mystery beyond that warm circle is not danger, but promise. Your willingness to advance inside limited light creates space for miracles to meet you mid-step. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. See Psalm 19:105. Scripture frames guidance as illumination close at hand, reminding you that clarity for the entire journey is unnecessary when the next meter shines bright. Consider times when unexpected detours shaped you more than straightforward highways, a delayed train that sparked a life changing conversation, a closed door that redirected your talents, a pause in employment that unveiled hidden gifts. Those memories testify that trust grows not in ease, but in movement through ambiguity. So when fog blurs upcoming miles, anchor attention on the ground directly beneath you. The patch of life entrusted for today, the child asking for breakfast, the colleague needing patience, the spreadsheet waiting honest numbers. Faithfulness in such ordinary tiles arranges a mosaic that only hindsight reveals. The cadence of trust includes rest, pauses to listen for subtle course corrections, moments when you're still breathing long enough to feel internal compasses reset. Just as migrating birds ride thermals rather than flailing wings, you can lean into divine updrafts, promptings to speak kindness, instincts to wait 5 more minutes, nudges to release retaliatory words before they form. Yielding to these gentle currents transforms random choices into choreography. Fear will suggest that caution equals safety, but indecision becomes its own hazard, keeping treasures buried. When doubts clamor, recall how fisherman Peter stepped onto water. Buoyancy arrived only after commitment. Likewise, promises beneath your feet may feel solid only once your weight rests fully on them. The ground of grace was never meant to be tested with reluctant toes. It welcomes the confident heel strike of those who believe it will hold. Therefore, advance with open palms, ready to receive unplanned blessings and release familiar comforts. Greet uncertainty as fertile territory where trust sends down new roots. Speak gratitude aloud for every small waypoint reached. For praise engraves mile markers on memory, guiding you next time the path dims. And should you stumble, let fall become rhythm, for even missteps carry you forward when surrendered to God's redemptive artistry. In this forward motion, you discover that you are not behind. You are exactly synchronized with the One who orchestrates each synchronous beat between earth and eternity. You now sense the hidden gears of your days engaging, turning seamlessly with the larger design of heaven, like cogs in a radiant clockwork that spans earth and stars. No longer are you a solitary wanderer guessing at meaning. You are a living thread woven through a tapestry whose full image stretches beyond sight. Each talent entrusted to you, each limitation you used to resent, fits an exact vacancy in this cosmic fabric. When you speak encouragement to a weary colleague, serve tea to an elder, or polish a neglected skill, unseen lines of connection tighten, pulling diverse colors into harmony. You once feared that your passions were scattered, that your experiences resembled mismatched stones in a pocket. Yet just as a mason selects differing shapes to arch a doorway, the master builder arranges every fragment of your story into an entrance through which others may step into hope. Childhood curiosities, painful failures, unexpected detours. These are not remnants to hide. They are polished keys that unlock empathy for souls walking similar terrain. When you share what you learned in night seasons, fresh dawns break for listeners who thought they were alone. Purpose becomes clear not in sudden epiphany, but in layered resonance. A conversation sparks recognition. A volunteer task ignites joy. An obstacle reveals dormant resilience. Pay attention to these interior vibrations. They signal alignment, much like a compass needle quivering toward true north. Your role may appear ordinary: parenting, coding, cleaning, teaching. But heaven values impact over spotlight. A single act of gentleness can reroute generational narratives, and a quiet innovation can ripple into cities you may never visit. You sometimes wonder whether you should pursue grander platforms, but recall how rivers shape continents by patient persistence, not noisy display. Influence rooted in humility travels farther than ambition propelled by applause. Keep your heart tuned to small promptings. Send a note of thanks. Correct an invoice with integrity. Pause to listen rather than prove a point. In these modest exchanges, you synchronize with eternal purpose, and the resulting cadence guides wider movements than you can measure. If guilt whispers that you missed earlier assignments, remember the orchard. Pruning can appear ruthless, yet it directs sap towards sweeter harvest. Delays and detours prune excess branches, so that the fruit now forming will nourish more lives. Release regret, receive pruning as redirection, pointing energy toward work prepared for this precise season. When fatigue accuses you of insufficiency, picture migratory birds drafting behind one another. Your journey also benefits from collective lift. Allow mentors, friends, and past saints to propel you, and offer your own momentum to those following. Now envision today's agenda spread like map coordinates before you. Ask which task resonates with the melody of compassion, excellence, and truth. Then devote your best strength there. Even paperwork can become worship when handled with sincerity. If doors seem shut, knock patiently. If windows open, climb carefully. You carry a portable sanctuary within. The steady assurance that your heartbeat syncs with a grander rhythm, orchestrating galaxies and grains of sand alike. Stand tall in that assurance. When evening falls, you will look back and recognize the quiet music of alignment guiding every purposeful step of the day. You pause at the threshold between rising day and yet unprinted hours, sensing a gentle momentum urging you onward, as though dawn itself is laying a carpet of gold beneath every deliberate step. The lessons of presence, timing, hidden growth, trust, and purpose now braid together into a single, quiet confidence. You move within a river of blessing that began before your birth and continues beyond today's horizon. You no longer picture life as a staircase of missed rungs. Instead, you envision a flowing path where each bend reveals fresh provision. The future no longer intimidates, because you recognize it as simply the next room in your Father's house, already prepared with lighted candles and warm bread. Listen to the subtle promises in morning sounds. A sparrow rehearses fearless flight. Distant traffic hums of journeys commencing. Wind chimes converse about unseen currents. These ordinary voices remind you that the same Creator who choreographs breezes also arranges opportunities, mentors, and resources to meet you precisely when readiness ripens. You can greet the unknown with open palms rather than clenched fists, because every new assignment arrives escorted by sufficient grace. Even challenges carry wrapped gifts: perseverance, empathy, innovation, waiting to be unbound through prayerful courage. Look back briefly. Notice the mosaic already formed. Disappointments transformed into wisdom, delays converted into deeper friendships, closed doors redirecting you toward rooms filled with laughter you would never have heard otherwise. Gratitude swells, for hindsight proves that nothing was random. Carry this proof into tomorrow. Let it steady you when headlines shout fear or when projects wobble. You are held inside a covenant older than sunrise, and that covenant whispers, all things work together for good when surrendered. Forward blessing also means forward responsibility. As heaven entrusts fresh mercy to you, channel it outward. Write the encouraging message you postponed. Mentor someone wrestling with doubt. Invest creativity where stale methods stifle life. Blessing multiplies when circulated. A stagnant pond becomes clear only when water flows. Resist any urge to hoard time, talent, or tenderness. Generosity keeps your spirit aerated, allowing joy to sparkle like sunlight on moving streams. Remain attentive to small nudges, an urge to learn a new skill, a soft idea that won't release its glow, a recurring thought to reconcile with someone distant. These glimmers often mark the coordinates of coming breakthroughs. Record them, pray over them, act on them. Forward blessing is seldom loud. It begins as a seed of possibility requiring the soil of obedience. Tend it faithfully, and fields of influence will emerge, surprising even seasoned observers. End the morning by picturing the day like an open meadow stretching ahead. See yourself walking steadily, leaving prints that blossom into wildflowers for others to follow. Trust that closed gates will swing open at the precise moment, and that when dusk arrives you will have gathered enough stories of kindness and courage to weave into tonight's Thanksgiving. For you are not late, nor lost. You are exactly in the center of ongoing blessing, and the one who leads you forward also songs over your every step. As sunlight climbs higher, breathe 3 slow breaths, welcoming hope with each inhale and exhaling yesterday's residue. Picture the tasks ahead as blank parchment and imagine God's hand writing the first graceful line across it. Whisper thanks for unseen protection, for timings you cannot predict, for roots still thickening beneath today's soil. Ask, how can I become a quiet river of blessing wherever I tread? Then listen for one gentle instruction and commit to obey it before nightfall. Hold this resolve lightly, trusting guidance to adjust your pace. Rest a moment in silence, letting peace settle